Hi, this is Bill the Techno Gypsy. In this video, I'm going to show you the fix that I had to do to my Champion 9500-7500 generator. Now, I bought this generator in 2011, and I was using it up in the Northern Virginia area for quite a few years. One of the problems up there is that the gasoline up in Virginia, Northern Virginia, is all ethanol based. So it's got the 10%, up to 10% ethanol. Ethanol-based gas works fine on a fuel injection system, but on a carbureted system, it can cause some problems. Well, now that I'm down here in Alabama, I can get non-ethanol fuel, real 93 octane fuel. So I started to put that into my Champion to get this generator back up and running. One of the problems I got into was it hasn't run in quite a while. So I'm going to take you through and show you all the things that I've done and the fix. You can come along with me as I fix this Champion 9500-7500 generator, because I do not want to spend the money to buy a new one. Let me show you the problem that came up. So I know I've got good fuel flow because I checked the fuel flow and that looked fine. But what I'll do here, I will shoot some starter fluid back into there, get it choked. And that's all I get. Boom, and then it just shuts down. So since I know that the fuel line is good, because I've checked the fuel hose and I've got good amount of fuel coming out, I know that it's down in here into the carburetor. Now I'll go ahead and tell you, I pulled the carburetor off the first time and tried to fix it. And I watched a couple of YouTube videos on how to clean it and everything else. And there was one little problem on the float that I had, and anyway, I broke it. So I was like, well, what do I do? So I got on the phone to Champion. I had to wait about an hour and 20 minutes waiting for them, their service department and parts to come on. And I told them model I've got, serial number, and they turned around and said I could get a brand new carburetor and the new gaskets for a total of $85, and that was with shipping. And I'm like, that's a great price, because I know that the carburetor is shot on this thing. Like I said, I did try to clean it. It is all gummed up from the ethanol-based fuel. So we're going to go into this video and I'm going to change the carburetor on this Champion generator. And I'm going to do this because I know some of you don't like my long hair, but I enjoy my long hair, and it getting ready to be 67 years old. I don't care if you don't like it or not. I like it. I get to be goofy, and I'll wear this. So let's hop into tearing this thing apart. And before I get into that though, we're gonna do a box opening. So this is the box from Champion. Let's see what we have. Looks like 2 gaskets, and I love it. Carburetor assembly made in China. Well, it looks like a brand new carburetor, and this does look like the exact one that I have. That's why I contacted them. Is I went onto the Amazon site, and there are thousands of carburetors, and I wanted to make sure I had the right carburetor. So that's why I figured it was much easier to just contact Champion themselves. And the price, like I said, was $86 to have it shipped in and everything with the gaskets. So let's put this thing on. So now I'm down here. This is a series first thing I'm going to do is there's this, it's tied to the air filter system. And I'm going to go ahead and there's two 10 millimeter bolts that hold it on. And you really have to get it off and get it out of the way before you can work on, before you can get to all the bolts that are on the, holding the carburetor in. And like I said, it's just two 10 millimeter bolts, so it's not too bad. All right, and there's one line that goes in to the back here. Sit you up here. These are the two bolts for this. So now, come in with the 10 millimeter. Let's go to a socket. Now the 110 millimeter that's in the middle of this, of the air intake, that's going to be one nut, but there are a series of 6 nuts that go around this whole air breather assembly. So now I've got my nut driver set. I think this is not 9. It is an 8 millimeter. So we're going to take these off. Ah, come here. That makes it fun. I've got to go back here. And this is why you have to take off, that's why you have to take off this air filter thing or whatever. It's on the carburetor. There's a bolt right back here, a nut. All right. Okay, this part comes off. Now there's one more 10 millimeter in here. And we'll get it off. All right. So now we have a fuel clip. Okay, that doesn't look bad. And 2 electrical leads. And then the carburetor basically slides off. And we have to take the spring off and then get this off. And now the carburetor comes right out. So let's see. I want to get this gasket off. Now I have my 2 gaskets. Now remember, in this, I am not a mechanic, but I figured it was easier to do this myself than to pay for it, to have it done. We'll see. All right, so you go up like this. Okay. These reconnect. Let's get you first. All right. Carburetor is on. Let's get the gas line hooked back up. There we go. All right, got the fuel line back on. So that should be both of those. Now, this is the outer gasket. Goes like that. So we're going to take this . Get this back on. Okay, that's got the carburetor on. Let's get these clips off. We'll allow this to go back on here. And here. And hopefully, we should be able to run a test and see if we can get it to fire back up. Let's see, put you back in here. And might as well get this air tank back, or whatever it is. Let's tighten this down. You know, you let me forget this one. That's why I had that off. This is tough to get on here, but it can be done. A lot easier putting it on than taking it off. So now we should be ready to put this back on. This is the 8mm. It's nuts that we put back on. Get them started. And I'll tighten them down. All right, that one's tight. That one's tight. 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 All right, let's get the air filter. Put it back in. It's got a little bit of oil on it, as it should. We have fuel on. I'm going to choke it. Let's see if we got it fixed. Well, there it is. I hope you've all enjoyed it out there. $85. That included shipping to replace the carburetor. It would have cost me $1,000 to replace the generator. Simple to do. You saw me. I'm not a mechanic. I'm far from being a mechanic. I do like to play with things and build things, but very easy to change out. And it was just to look at it and go, well, it's just a clogged carburetor. Now, one of the things, as I stated again, is that you have to be careful. If you live in an area where you don't have non-ethanol gasoline, you need to make sure you run these things at least once a month for about 15 to 20 minutes. Keep the gas run through it, make sure everything's doing well. I do put stabilizer in my gas also. What I'm doing now, because I have 93 octane non-ethanol gasoline, which works great on carbureted systems like this generator, my Honda XR650L, because it's an old carbureted motorcycle. You know, you really need to not run ethanol-laden gas. So, I hope you've enjoyed this little quick video and put up with me on this. As I showed you how I just changed this out, getting it ready for the storm season to come. And now I have a fully functioning Champion 9500 watt generator. So I'm happy. So this is Bill the Techno Gypsy saying 7-3 and God bless. And I'll see you on the next adventure.